this inaugural virtual session organized by JYEP Alumni, Startups Unplugged by Dr. Apurva Ranjan Sharma. Well, JITO is an organization of Jain industrialists, knowledge workers, and professionals with chapters across all the globe. Our initiatives are aimed at socioeconomic community empowerment. One of these initiatives has been the Jain Youth Exchange Program, launched in 2015 by JITO Ahmedabad, along with Jaina USA. This program has delivered some incredible special experience for most of us present on today's course. Every year, 12 to 14 young Jains among hundreds of applicants qualify to travel to the United States as part of this program, where they spend 4 weeks staying with and learning from successful Jain families across various cities. Sakshi Bansali, a participant from our first batch, will shed some more light on this program shortly. But before that, firstly, I'd like to request Mr. Amit Parikh, Chairman of GCCI Startup, to speak about their organization. Mr. Amit Parikh.
Yeah, thank you, Pravesh. Namaste to all. I'm Amit Parikh, Chairman, Startup Committee, Gujarat Chamber of Commerce. First of all, I want to convey apology conveyed by Pathik Patwari. He's supposed to be here to greet all of you, but due to some last minute moment, meeting with a government official, he could not make it. So let me introduce Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industries. In Gujarati, we call it Gujarati Vyapari Mahamandal. Gujarat Vyapari Mahamandal. It is founded in 1949, and we have some 4 lakhs direct and indirect members of trade and industries. Our members are our strength. And the objective of Startup Committee is to support and mentor the startup with the industries, which is very important at all stages of startup. And we are always there to support any startup, anytime. So thank you all the stakeholders for these collaborative efforts, and looking forward to more like this ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Amit Bhai. And can I now request Sakshi to come on her experience with the JYEP, the Youth Exchange Program?
Hi everyone, I'm Sakshi. So as Pravesh Uncle mentioned, the Jain Youth Exchange Program is basically this unique and intensive international experience that we have, where we go to the US and we learn, we explore, and we network with Jain host families. And I was actually privileged to be part of the first batch that went for this program. And it's actually amazing to see how much we've grown since. From a pilot of 12, now we've come to taking 14 kids every year from around the world. And we had, in fact, for our 2020 edition, we had about 850 plus applications. And, even in the rise of Corona, we're still taking virtual group discussions to select the final 14 from around the world. And I think more than anything else, taught me the importance of having a community that you can go back to, and a community that is actually so invested in your learning, in your growth. So I think that today the entire JYEP alumni family that we have, the host families that we have, I think we're there for each other whenever we need something. If there's any mentorship, growth opportunities that we can provide. So I think that sort of a warmth from a community like this is something that I've picked up on the most. So we're glad today actually to be collaborating with the entire JYEP alumni family for this webinar. So I just hope that you all enjoy the session.
Thank you, Sakshi. Thank you so much. And it's now all over to Dr. Apurva Ranjan. I don't want to keep everybody waiting, but before he starts, a quick introduction of this co-founder of Indian Startups by Urvesh Mehta. Urvesh.
Yeah, so thank you, Pravesh Uncle. So it is always a difficult task to undertake when you are asked to introduce someone like Dr. Apurva Ranjan Sharma. We can speak hours and hours about his credentials and yet be left unsure of what we missed talking about his illustrious career. Yet, let me make a small little attempt. Dr. Apurva Ranjan Sharma is a globally acclaimed angel investor and speaker of repute at a plethora of global startup conferences. He holds a doctorate in incubation from Emmett University and a diploma in mentor studies from Berkeley Institute of Management. To his credit, Dr. Apurva is curated, incubated, and led seed investments in Oyo Rooms, BharatPay, Innovate, Beoldo, Find, to name a few organizations, most of which are currently the category leaders. He has established over a dozen incubators and accelerators, accelerator funds, and family office funds. He led Venture Catalyst into the prestigious list of top 10 seed stage investors in the world in 2019. He also serves as board member of TIE Mumbai. So Dr. Apurva Ranjan Sharma is one of the most influential figures in Indian startup funding space. His leadership and passion have motivated thousands of investors to take a plunge into startup investments. So Dr. Apurva, just to bring to your attention, the average age of the audience today is less than 27 years. The common denominator of the audience is to be part of the startup community at some stage of their lives. Everyone is eager and all ears to hear on insights on startups unplugged, philosophies, possibilities, and paradoxes. With this, sir, I request you to take the center stage. Over to you.
So, first of all, thanks a lot to all of you to give me this stage where I can express my views and also share some information and some knowledge or some experiences what we have for the benefit of the community. You know, I've been hearing from Pravesh that this is one of the most vibrant community in Jito, less than 27-year-old boys and the other one who actually movers and shakers. Frankly, I mean, my biggest success story has been a 17-year-old boy with Ritesh. So I'm always excited when I'm interacting with the younger population. You know, in next while everybody is now, you know, kind of, you know, talking about COVID, you know, venture catalyst has its own way of evaluating the things. And we see it totally different. We see this, every conflict has its a very big opportunity. You know, morning I was talking to someone and some investors from, you know, GCC. I just told them one thing that, you know, we see this conflicts as a big, big opportunity for us. And I'll tell you about that why a little later. Before that, I should start with one thing that somebody asked me the question, you know, we are biggest startup economy in the world. You know, startup economies are the economies where most of the things are centered around the startups. You know, the biggest startup economy in the world. If you open my presentation, you guys have my presentation?
Yes, we'll be starting in 1 minute.
Yeah, can you just open the first slide? Maybe 4 or 5 things I can share with these guys, you know, which will benefit them in the future. Okay, so this slide, gentlemen, all of you must see this. Here, this you see, we are now positioned as the 3rd biggest economy in terms of number of unicorns. What is unicorn? Because you are youngsters, I'm sure you understand more than me. Unicorn are the companies which are above $1 billion companies. India is the number 3 in the world in that space. The biggest is US, then China, and then we have India. And, you know, in terms of number of startups, you know, again, we are number 3. And this is CB Insight data. CB Insight is one of the biggest, you know, it's the US-based biggest, you know, startup aggregator and data aggregator. So US has around 5 lakh startups. China has around 8 lakh startups. India is around 40,000 to now about lakh startups economy. We are growing very, very fast. 2016, when I started Venture Catalyst, we were just 3,000 startup economy, 4,000 startup economy. NASCOM used to claim around 8,000 startups at that time. But every time I see these numbers keep growing by at least 5 or 6 times. Why this is happening in Indian economy? And I want to tell you one thing. India is one of the most capital efficient startup economy in the world. One of the most capital efficient startup economy. You go to see China, how much money is invested. It's in billions. You know, every year more than, you know, $30 billion is getting invested in the startups in the early stage. US is around 25, 30 billion every year they're getting invested. Whereas in India is not even $1 or $2 billion, right? So, and still we produce 26 unicorns out of this. Yes, there is a great contribution from Chinese investors and US investors in series A, B, C. Most of the series A are driven by the US based investors, whereas most of the series B and series C are driven by the Tencents of the world from China's world. So, this there is a collaboration. Yes, there is a collaboration. Why this is happening, please understand. And this is very important for us to understand. You are sitting in Ahmedabad, most of you. I mean, this organization from Ahmedabad. Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, while in 2016, 80% of the startups and investors, they were based in Tier 1 city, Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. Startup means Delhi, Bombay, Bangalore. Nobody knew about Ahmedabad on that. Nobody knew about Raipur on that. Nobody knew about, Surat on that. We were the first to go there, and as venture capital, we thought, let's create 100 startup cities. But now see the results. There is a 450% growth in the early stage funding from tier 2, tier 3 city, and this number doubling, almost it's a very high growth numbers. More than 300% is growth in terms of number of startups from tier 2, tier 3 cities. And now there are tier 4 cities like Siliguri and all, they are opening up now. And why that's happening? First of all, thanks to Geo, because Geo has taken bandwidth to every smaller city, and that has started creating good bandwidth in smaller cities. There was already a talent, right? Even the Oyo room, which is a decacon. I hope you guys understand what is decacon. Not sure how many, but decacon is a company which is a $10 billion above company. When I went to China, Alibaba had the first time I heard this word decacons. India has 2 decacons. One is Oyo, other one is Paytm, and rest of them are the unicorns. So what happens? Geo has taken this bandwidth to smaller towns. So the enablement for the startups, they need internet, they need talent, and they need a co-working space. Now there is a lot of small cities, their co-working spaces are open, right? So this is the transformation of economy till 2019. What's going to happen from here in next 3 to 5 years is, because of the COVID, because of this corona thing, कहते हैं ना वो एक jolt लगता है. Now our economies are jolted, and thanks to corona, everybody is sitting in his home and thinking what to do. So when there is a jolt in the economy, there is a recession in the economy, when there is a there is everything looking down, capital heavy businesses are going down, the emergence of capital efficient businesses start, and that is a startup. You will see huge surge in the startups, that is capital efficient businesses, that is highly scalable, technology driven businesses. You will see that surge now coming. In 3 to 5 years, India might grow to a 5 lakh startup economy, maybe a 200 unicorn economy, right? That is a possibility, and 100% possibility there, right? Let's look forward for the next things. Thank you, gentlemen. Next slide. Now, another very important fact, which you guys should know, youngsters should know. When I interacted with Oyo founder, he was just 17, right? In 2012. He came to me 2011 end, right? Again, that was a recession time. I want to remind you. That was not a very good market time. When, people used to say in 2012-13, your boss down हो रहा है market, right? तो ये तो Indian market में जो stock market जो flip flop होता ही रहता है, ठीक है? So हमने in India we have seen 3-4 crashes, right? .com का देखा, फिर Nasdaq देखा, फिर meltdown दोबारा हुआ, फिर 12-13 के आसपास भी हुआ. So many meltdowns, market crashes keeps happening, but every time what happens, and this is a data again, 25% of Indian unicorns, and we have the names, right? We have taken the data from Traction and BB Inside. 9 out of 36, they are born during the global recession time. 72 out of 464, there are 464 unicorn in the world, right? That number less than 500, little less than 500 unicorn in the world. India holds 36 out of that. 17% of them are born during the same time, with bad times. Why? Because that's a time when you think, yeah, boss, paisa hai nahi market mein. We will have to think something new, right? We will have to think something capital efficient. There is no capital available, right? So the capital efficient business is nothing better than startup. So you think something new which can transform the business. And that kind of scenarios, in that kind of situation, you come out something very fantastic, right? Go to the next slide, gentlemen. Give some examples of that to them. Uber, Slack, Dhruva, Zomato, Capillary, even my Oyo, all these were born during the bad market situations only. These guys thought of doing something different, than a traditional business, came out with that, unicorns are founded. Again, next 2-3 years, you will find a lot of unicorns coming out in the market. Gentlemen, next slide. There is some, projections happening in the market, boss. This is like, lot of, projections were happening about different economies. What is the COVID impact going to be in different economies? Yes, we are going to be impacted. Yes, almost every economy is, is getting impacted by so much percentage. But our growth is going to be positive. That is one of the biggest positive of this. We may be between 2.5 kind of percent growth, unlike other countries where growths are projected to be negative, even -5%, -3%. But when this is a projection by economic intelligence and so many other, even recently there was projections by international agencies. So Indian GDP growth might be anywhere around 2, which is big positive. And that's why, most of the biggest fund in the world, most of the, the mutual funds in the world, they are looking to invest in Indian economy compared to any other economy in the world, because they know the projections in other economies is going to be down, right? So very good opportunity for Indian to capitalize on that and, attract a lot of capital for our economy and also take it to the next level, gentlemen. This kind of returns which you see 45x, 250x, these are to my own startups, Oyo Bharat Pay. Others you see 120x, and within 4-5 years of investment, they are unprecedented. And this kind of opportunity you see only in the startups. Why this data is important for you? Because if you are doing a startup, this kind of returns, and a lot of people say, boss, investors bolte hai yaar कि why not invest in the stock market, वो भी तो down सस्ते रेट पे मिल रहा है. But ये जो multiplier है, that you don't get in any other asset class except, and this is continued, like the early stage investing is a recession proof kind of thing. You will see whenever there is a recession happening, you will see a lot of startups and investments happening in the early stage. Yes, series A, B, C takes time, but by the time economy recover, right, they get impacted for shorter time, but that's not a worry. Go to the next slide. Now, very important for a lot of people, this is actually the IVCA and Praxis and government data from. People say that it will take around 7 quarters to recover. My projection is it may take 4 quarters to recover, right? 3 to 4 quarters. 3 quarters, our economy will be back on track, and you may see even 20% recovery growth in some of the quarters, because some of the economies like India and China, they bounce back very, very fast. And you are seeing what's happening in Yuan in China now after the COVID countries declared COVID free. How fast they're growing in the economy now. You can see that. The moment this happens in India, you'll see the fast growth coming there also. Go to the next slide. A lot of people, startups, they think, yeah, boss, what will happen to our sector? This is a research done by Praxis Analysis, not my research, but by common sense also, you can understand, till healthcare, media, pharmaceutical, IT, ITS, technology companies, education, insurance, consumer companies, many of them will not be impacted by, this, thing. Rest of them will be impacted for at least one quarter to 2 quarters. That's why, even if we do seed and early stage investing, idea stage investing right now, 6 months down the line, they will have a chance to grow the revenue. But this, investment might go slow in these technology, auto sector, real estate, and apparel industry. But no VC or angel investor, they say that we are close to any idea. If there is some unprecedented idea, some miraculous idea, why not invest? So these are quarter-wise recovery which we have shown to you, gentlemen. Yeah, I mean, this is something, another analysis. I will say, where you can see comparison, revenue growth versus credit risk involved in different sectors. There are 16-20% sectors which are in high risk, right? Because अभी एयरलाइन चलेगा ही नहीं तो धंधा किधर से होगा, ठीक है? Say the real estate is also something which people want to go and see and then buy. Can't do anything before then. But construction work will start soon. That's what I believe. And textile also the similar situation. But this is more I'll say research. What will happen eventually, you will see after, I will say 4 months, 1 quarter. Because these research sometimes are done based on certain hypotheses, certain, parameters. Yes, a lot of work goes behind them, but the fact is what will happen after 1 quarter, you will be seeing after that 1 quarter, next 2 quarters will show you what sectors grow fast. Go to the next slide. A lot of B2B, next 2 years, I will say solutions helping enterprises. Yeah, I keep getting calls from Mondelez, Accenture, a lot of other large companies. We also have, we also own we also have a company which is into open innovation. They work with corporates. So we get direct calls from them. Is there something which basically can help us in improving our supply chain in this COVID time? Can I see the temperature of, in my app, can I show the temperature of the person who is delivering, or he's COVID free or not? The customers are demanding something like that. So this is the time when you will see a lot of enterprise driven solutions coming into the market next 2 years. Goal is basically to survive, then grow. Economic translation is reduce the cost, some technology. It can reduce the cost. You have seen TCS announcing for next 2 years work from home for 80% of their employees. It's a reduction of the cost. Engage customers digitally. Everybody wants to go digital now. Nobody wants to, sort of, because this pandemic situation, do not know when it will going to improve. This is going to be new normal. You will have to live with this. Unless you have vaccine in place, you have to live with this. You never know who the person who is going to come and meet you is having, because once the normalcy is even then you do not know, because these things are non-symptomatic also. So engaging, most of the people would like to engage customers digitally. They would like to even do their business digitally. Remote workflow to keep team with higher productivity, and all these things, gentlemen, is already in place now. I mean, entire Accenture, 5 lakh people have shifted their business completely online now. 5 lakh people shifted completely online. My friend who's MD there, he told me, "Our boss, it took us around 15 days, but now all my business is completely shifted to online. We are doing all business online, and they're dealing with so many customers across the globe now. So our business also, we are completely online now. We are interacting with investors online. We are interacting with our startups online. Everything is happening online. Gentlemen, go to the next level. Thank you. How to evaluate startups? Fundamentals don't change, gentlemen. be it a recession situation, be it any situation, fundamentals are going to be the same. The mentorability of the founder, whether the founder is open to hear others or not, whether he has the capability of raising the larger rounds, fund for whether he has the capability of people management, whether he is, when I say people manage, a very big broad terms. So for example, Oyo founder Ritesh, he has the nascent capability of identifying talent for his company. He used to pitch every, interact a lot, big networker, interact a lot of people, not just for money, but for offering them to join his company. When you are in a big mission of creating a unicorn, you keep on finding people which are good for your business, which can add value for your business. Very important, whether you have the people development capability and identifying the next level investor for you. This is a continuous process for any startup. He has to, next 10 years or rather 15 years, you will have to do these jobs continuous basis, identifying these right people, identifying new investors. Unit economics is something very important factor. You will find most of the unicorn founders, they are very smart in managing their. Recently there was an announcement by Snapdeal where they have reduced their burns by maybe 2,000 crores, reduced. So they strongly believe in unit economics, ability, and whether they are following any disruption or innovation or not. All these thing factors come little later. Once you have a capital light model, once you have some idea which is disruptive or innovative. So I'll give you example from your Ahmedabad. There was a company called Beardo which came to us, right? We invested them $500,000 at the idea stage. What I looked at it, I found the gentleman very, very smart, mentorable entrepreneurs. So these guys came to me from Ahmedabad. Both of them did this. They said, boss, every female has a right to look beautiful. Every man has a right to look handsome. I have 16 products which can make you look handsome. I said, boss, what is this? It's a men's grooming market. At that time, there was something called, Dollar Shaving Club, which was sold in the market. I said, what's the market size? Female grooming is around 1 lakh crore market. Said maybe 10,000 to 12,000 crore market. And we reevaluated. Very good market size. I saw the opportunity and they were the first movers. Yes, that time there was men's company in the market. There was another company in Mumbai who was in the market. They all both exits. But the pace at which Beardo was growing, the hunger at which these guys came to me was amazing. Something which I could see that very smart founders, very, very, very pushy in getting the investments. Within 3 days, they signed the term sheets. That happened very fast. Within 2 weeks' time, they could secure 60% of our investments. And in a month's time, the investment was closed. Within 6 months, they brought Marico on board. Look at their speed, gentlemen. They want to become big. Now they're completely getting acquired by Marico. Last stage. Investors will make around 7-8x. And what is the timeline? Only 2.5 years. This is your local hero from Ahmedabad. Now I think everybody in Ahmedabad should know Beardo, which is a leader in the men's grooming now. But Marico founder is a good friend of mine, gentleman who is handling their. So Rishabh Mariwala, he said it to one of my partner. The speed at which they were doing the online growth was amazing to them. That was something which was unprecedented. That's why they got interested. Only one good factor, what they attracted to. Go back to the previous slide, gentlemen. This was something about Beardo. So go back to the evaluation slide. Go back to the evaluation slide. So these are factors what you look at. I'll give you more example. Go to the next slide. When you are, so I already talked, you will find some quarters where the speed of recovery even can be more than 20%. Post-COVID, you will see the bouncing back of the economies. Go to the next slide. Now I want to tell you about some startups, which I liked, and I was involved personally in them. Gentleman came to me when he was just 17-year-old from a city, Raigada, very small town near Bhubaneswar. But he was living in Delhi near Masjid Mode. No money being taken from family from last 2 years. And that's when he came to me, applied to one of my accelerator. Previous to venture capital, I set up an accelerator called Venture Nursery. So we were three partners there, right? So first company which we invested from there was Oyo. But at that time it was called Oravel.com. He was a salesman for his company. He was a single man, 2 or 3 member team. Others was mostly the sort of part time, right? But from there he started his journey, right? We gave him a very small money at a $500,000 valuation kind of. But no, that becomes him base till he secured Peter Thiel fellowship, and then the money from Speed came $1 million kind of. So that's the starting point for this gentleman. That was first 1 year. Right? But after that, every 6 months he used to show us one term sheet with one term sheet with every 6 months he used to show us one term sheet, and the company used to grow to the next level. And we have really enjoyed the journey with him. We were there with the company for about 4 years. After we exited, that was unprecedented exit again in Indian market. What I liked about gentleman, he's unstoppable. For him, everything is Oyo. There are a lot of founders I've seen, they start taking 3 lakh rupees salary, 2 lakh rupees salary from day one. He's not that guy. He takes minimal money from the company because he believes if Oyo is there, he's there. If his Oyo is not there, he's not there. He always believes, even today, he did an unprecedented thing. He bought back Lightspeed and Sequoia, some of the previous venture capital funds, by taking some of the backing from Chinese and Japanese investors. Increased his stake because the idea was, because he is going to be in the company, he wanted to increase his stake. Unprecedented moves he has done. So miraculous gentleman, miraculous, hats off to him. Go to the next slide. I have talked about your Beardo story. Another gentleman, this company came to me, from Harvard labs. The gentleman you see, Khushbu and Piyush, they studied in Harvard, and did this project, crowdfunding for medical bills. So if you are hospitalized in Apollo Hospital, bill comes to be 60 lakh, 20 lakh is what come from the insurance. That's 40 lakhs they will raise in 72 hours. They have solved more than 15,000 cases. What they brought from us, they wanted some help from getting the hospital owners. So we connected them to hospital like Apollo, and that time, they co-invested with us 0.5 million. The round size was 2 million. Now look at what he's doing, gentlemen. This gentleman, wherever he is presenting, whether he was presenting any forum, the money was committed. People used to come back and say, well, entrepreneur is very good. Dr. Kapoor, I would like to co-invest. No matter whether they want to invest $500,000 or $1 million or $100,000, everybody used to say to me. I said, I will open up this to everybody who wants to co-invest and make this company big. Another important thing I realized about him was fully committed to his business. He innovated the business model. He realized crowdfunding is an issue. The rules are not clear. So he could figure out a model where there is no legal issues. And also, he also studied Chinese successful companies which are basically selling the insurance on top of this service. That's why he pivoted the model also. And he kept on innovating, because you can beat the other businesses only by two things: by better mind speed, and second, by continued innovation and disruption in your current business. Because startups, every year things keeps changing around them. So this gentleman is close to raise larger round from Chinese investors now. Thank you, gentlemen. So any other slide after this? Thank you. So I would like to thank you. Here I leave. I like to end my conversation. I'm open for hearing more questions from you, rather making it a monologue. Open for you guys.
Thank you so much, Apurva, for your fantastic insights. And I'll ask now Urvesh to take over. And Asad, Urvesh, we have Shreyans and Sakshi, who have noted down all the questions from the chat. And there were several questions from the registration desk also. So they've compiled, and probably, Urvesh, can you start immediately with some questions?
So, Dr. Apurva, thanks a lot. Like, if I could summarize your discussion in one line, it would be like an amalgamation of insight, and foresight. So, like, you covered all these three topics very well. Like, you covered about how digital penetration has catapulted the market, how capital efficient India is, how this situation can also be an opportunity for the ones who are looking to disrupt themselves. So one of the questions which we have received on the Q&A chat is, like, what are the advice points which you are giving to your founders at this stage to better navigate this situation? Like, in your conversation with them, like, what are the typical points you advise on?
See, I am telling my founder, this is for them the best time for two things. A, think of their next level. If they have 1-year-old company, they can right now visualize how they can become a unicorn by innovating their offerings, by innovating their products, by bringing technology. So strengthen the products, strengthen the services, strengthen the sort of their startup. This is the best time for them to think. They will never get time to think after this COVID. The moment this COVID is over, they will be in a rocket, right? So this is the best time for you to think, right? Go back to the board, sit there, write down what you have done so far, what is the next big thing you are going to do, and execute. Start, put the things in the execution mode immediately. Second thing I tell them, this is the best time to reach out to the next level of investor. If you have raised Series A, raise Series B. If you have raised seed, raise Series A. Because this is time when you will find most of the venture capital sitting at home. They will give you time. They will never, otherwise what happens in the normal scenario, getting their times is 2 weeks, 3 weeks sometimes. No, I'm also interacting with so many VCs, so many, LPs in international market, just because this is lockdown situation everywhere. And, because of the lockdown, you are getting extra time from these important people. So you have to come in their radar. And when the situation will normalize, you may be the first person to get their money, right? So these are two very important advices to every startup founder, gentlemen. Right now, focus, because you cannot do anything on your revenue part. Whichever sector you are, accordingly your revenues are built, right? Your efforts to maintain that is there, but these two things is somewhere you can move faster than others.
Sure, thanks a lot for that, Dr. Apurva. Shanj, do you want to go next with the next question?
Hi, Dr. Apurva. So,
Hi.
the question would be as connected to Urush by that. So, this was for the startups which are coming new. For the startups which are already in line, is there more importance for any kind of a business continuity or contingency plan? Do they need to maneuver with their path, like the final goal, or do they need to make some changes in their current plan according to the COVID-19, or should they go head on with what they have decided?
So you have to understand that business continuity or business contingency plans, these are things which I will say not important. These are things which are there. See, any startup will anyway do that, right? But what is more important, the above two things which I said right now. You know, the after 6 months, when the COVID is over, people will forget this. The new investor which is coming on your cap table will forget it. He will ask you, what have you done during last 1.5 years, or even if your company is today 6 months old and you are at that time 1 year old, they will see what you have done in last 1 year, right? So that's a time when you will be able to show your capabilities, founders' capabilities, right? That yes, there was a business continuously challenged. Some contingency plans like conserving cash, you know, there's a host, I mean, there's a full document written by this thing, conserving cash, reducing burns, all those things everybody is doing. You are not the only one which is going to do. But where should be main focus? Product innovation, disruption. Take it to totally different level, right? Take a totally different level, that your loss of revenue is compensated by those innovations. Your loss of revenues are compensated by your, you know, plans. That is important right now. Very important. Business continuity, contingency won't pay you the next level of financing. They are interim arrangements. Nobody bothers about that. The next level investor will see what have you done. First two things which I just told you.
Sure. Thanks for that, Dr. Apurva. Sakshi, do you want to take the next question up?
Sure. Hi, Dr. Apurva. So
Hi.
basically, yeah, we received a question on, we have a couple of metrics through which valuation happens currently.
बहुत लाइट आवाज आ रहा है आपका.
Hello, is it
आवाज
better?
बहुत कम आ रहा है, थोड़ा तेज बोलिए.
Is it better now?
हाँ बोलिए ना.
So we have certain metrics through which valuation is happening currently, but valuation metrics change for startups.
जी देखिए, वैल्यूएशन का क्या है, मैं आपको बता दे रहा हूँ कि दिस इज अ लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन इन द मार्केट created by so let me tell you how the valuation works in the market. That's very important to understand. There are 9 methods of doing the valuation, right? Unfortunately, I've not covered that in that presentation. But what happens, the best VC's method is the most popular method. And what do they do? When they are investing in a startup, they see what is the money required for by this startup for next 12 to 18 months. And then they see how much money they want to make after 4 to 5 years.
Do you want me to start share the valuation slide?
No. है तो डाल दो. So, you know, then I will give you example of. So, this here, right? But this is venture capital method, ROI expectations by investors, gentlemen. So, you know, if I have invested $500,000 in this company, down the line, I want to see, अगर मैंने 3 करोड़ लगाए हैं, और ये हर स्टार्टअप से उनकी एक्सपेक्टेशन होती है, ये स्टैंडर्ड पॉलिसी होती है उनकी, कि मैं यार मिनिमम 20% लूंगा, ठीक है, 3 करोड़ के अगेंस्ट में, तब जाकर के मेरे फंड का रिटर्न निकलेगा, क्योंकि फंड तो 300 करोड़ का है, ठीक है. और इसमें से अगर उन्होंने 50 इन्वेस्टमेंट करे हैं आइडिया स्टेज में, तो उसमें से केवल 10 कंपनी उनको पैसा वापस देने वाली है, ठीक है. तो उनका एक सेट मेथड होता है कि बॉस मुझे इतनी इक्विटी चाहिए ही चाहिए, इतना पैसा मैं डाल दूंगा, 2 से 3 करोड़ 4 करोड़, ठीक है. वैल्यूएशन अकॉर्डिंगली डिसाइड हो जाता है उनका. यही मेथड प्रिवेल करता है चाइना में भी, यही मेथड इंडिया में वेंचर कैपिटल फंड भी फॉलो करते हैं, यही मेथड सारी दुनिया फॉलो करता है. इन द आइडिया स्टेज, which is like Y Combinator, accelerators, they say बॉस वैल्यूएशन डिस्कशन में जाना ही नहीं है, लेट्स जो भी राउंड नेक्स्ट राउंड आएगा उसमें 30% डिस्काउंट दे देना, इंस्टीट्यूशनल राउंड में अपना हो गया, और सिंगल डिजिट वैल्यूएशन दे दो, राइट, एनीवेयर बिटवीन 4 to 5 crore to 9 crore वैल्यूएशन, ठीक है. सो दीज आर सम प्रैक्टिसेस. अब एक तो ये चीज हो गई. दूसरा क्या है कि आप जो है FMCG में, तो वहां पे जो कई बार रेवेन्यू का मल्टीपल देखते हैं. अगर जैसे बियर्डो का रेवेन्यू मल्टीपल उस समय हमने इनको 4 दिया था, ठीक है, 11 करोड़ रेवेन्यू प्रोजेक्टेड था 1 साल का, तो हमने उसके हिसाब से 40 करोड़ वैल्यूएशन दिया था इनको. तो सेक्टर वाइज ऑल्सो कई बार मल्टीपल थ्योरी भी काम करती है, एक थ्योरी नहीं काम करती, अलग अलग सेक्टर के हिसाब से आपकी मल्टीपल्स देखे जाते हैं. जिस स्टार्टअप की जो स्टेज है उसके हिसाब से आपको वैल्यूएशन देनी होती है. बट ओवरऑल हर VC या हर इन्वेस्टर ग्रुप के दिमाग में होता है कि यार मिनिमम मेरे को 10 से 25% स्टेक लेने का है हर कंपनी में, चाहे वो को इन्वेस्टमेंट हो रही हो, सिंडिकेशन हो रही हो, नहीं तो उसको ओवरऑल इन्वेस्टमेंट उसका रिटर्न नहीं बनता. बिकॉज पैसे तो 30-40%, अब जैसे हमारे पैसे भी अभी 100 में से 35 कंपनीज में बने हैं, बाकी में तो आने बाकी है ना, ठीक है. बट वी आर मे बी एक्सेप्शनल, but in most of the average funds the returns come only from 10 to 15% company only. So they calculate accordingly what is the equity they want to take, right? That is their thesis, right? Now what is the covid का impact? 20% जो वैल्यूएशन अगर उसको 50 करोड़ मिलने वाला था, आज उसको 33 करोड़ वैल्यूएशन ही मिलने वाला है, 15-20%, क्योंकि कोविड में वैल्यूएशन, कोई भी रिसेशन हो वैल्यूएशन डाउन हो जाती है. डाउन नहीं होती है, रियलिस्टिक हो जाती है. जब नॉर्मल मार्केट सिनेरियो होता है तो स्टार्टअप्स वैल्यूएशन, अच्छी स्टार्टअप्स अगर उसका भाव जो है ना 40 करोड़ का है तो दे इवन चार्ज 60 करोड़. दैट वाज द प्रॉब्लम व्हिच केम टू फ्लिपकार्ट, इफ यू रिमेंबर. They had to reduce their, slash down their valuations 3 times, 2 to 3 times. That was because in the early stages they were valued much higher than what they should have been valued. Because it's a good startup, there are many takers. The market situation is like there are 5 term sheet, whichever give you the best valuation, they will go with them. Top 1% startup, which we also target. So there is no say there. If you say in the good market situation, where normal market situations, the good startups term sheets are closed within 24 hours to 72 hours, and the money is also parked in a month's time. It moves very fast. There you do not have a say. A lot of time the founder's capability matters a lot. If he has built a $1 billion company in the past, if he demands a $50 million valuation day one, they will be getting it. Idea stage. I have funded 1 or 2 companies like that because we were co-investors. We were not the lead investors. We got an opportunity to invest a small amount there. And this is all international companies. Individual capacity we have invested. So valuation is something, a market negotiation, market sentiment down है तो 15-20% valuation down हो जाता है. Valuation तो उस समय optimal valuation मिलनी शुरू हो जाती है. ठीक है?
Thanks, Dr. Apurva. So the next question was in line with the marketing strategy as to how should organizations or startup think about marketing at this point in time. Like, is it a discretionary expenditure? Is it not a discretionary expenditure? What are your thoughts on it?
Go strong in, I think your social media strategies should be very good. Frankly, when I remember we did a case study on Naukri.com long back, it's not now. We're back in 2008 or 9. They came out with why they got funding in the initial stage. They said, the cost of acquisition of a resume in the Naukri.com, they have brought it down. In the normal cases, a placement agent they spend around 200 rupees, I bring it down to 10 rupees or 5 rupees. That was their thesis of getting the investments. That is why they said, we can scale. And how do they used to acquire the resumes? Through social media, right? So, gentlemen, this is a time when you can invent, reinvent, and create your social media strategies for your organization to acquire customers. And I'm going to tell you a couple of examples. A friend of mine, I don't want to take the name, he's done 3 startups from Stanford. And he's created a product where there is no manual intervention. The marketing is completely online. He identified companies like into consumer durables. He sent the product subscription to them on email. Boss, you try it for a week. If you get a customers or not, you can continue or discontinue. In a week's time, he used to inundate them with a customers list. And when the conversions used to happen, immediately he used to send the invoices for the rest of the period. Entire strategy was on the getting the customers job done. So there was no need, and this was all automated, gentlemen. A time of sending him the invoice to customer, this was all automated. There's not a single man involved. This complete product is created by one person. So that's the kind of possibilities are there when you think, and this is all in Valley and other countries. I mean, I'll say this kind of things are there. Yes.
Okay, Urvesh, I have a question. I'm just picking up from this chat right now. Someone just said with the new policies coming in, the FDI ban from neighboring countries and all that, and as you said, that most of the money at the highest stage comes from China. So what do you say about that? Would it affect our valuation, picking our companies at higher valuations?
See, I want to tell you, I have a totally different version for this. It is a startup and between Chinese investors. So, if they will find its way. Frankly, I've always said this in multiple forums, the startup should be braced. Because if 19 unicorns out of 36, they received Series B, C from Chinese investors, then, how do we, unless we have alternatives available, right? So that's why I always said the startups where you do not see, because they don't take majority stake, they take 5%, 10%, 20% stake kind of. They should be braced from that. And so many forums like in Thai and other places, we've been telling this to the government of India. But yes, I think the government intention was to stop something like HDFC buying, because in European market and all those things start with the traditional businesses, right? That's where listed companies, the buying of that, that's where also they never stopped it. They said, they want to see what's happening there. But I think in due course, at least the startups will get some relaxation there. Otherwise, what's happening, the startups are shifting their base to Singapore and Hong Kong or London for that purpose. So if and I think that's not going to be good for Indian economy. The startups which are our startups should be here. If they are forced to, because most of these startups, they have plans. If they have plans to raise money from US, they normally shift to London, their base. They normally shift their base to Singapore if they're raising money from China. So it is good. It will be good if we incentivize these startups to stay back here. They flourish our economy. They develop our economy. The jobs are created here, and the money whichever is being accumulated or created is here, right? So I'll request the government of India. Rather, I've been requesting the government of India to brace the startup from this. I don't know how how they take it, but I'm sure they would have thought, and I believe that this in due course there may be some corrections coming there.
Asad, do you have anything to ask? I'm sure there's a lot of questions coming in and on. Somebody just asked one simple thing. Is idea enough to get started funding?
Sorry? What did you say?
Is a single small idea enough to get a startup funding?
Yes, if idea is powerful. When I invested in PSafe, which is a company into women hygiene, they came to me with a very strong idea that Dr. Apurva, I want to sanitize the toilet seat, which is a big pain in the public toilets. And I met him in Facebook lounge, I remember.
Yeah.
He said, boss, it's a good idea. Let's meet. Within 3 days we met. And he said, this is Harpic, which is cleaning the bowl where we sit and do, is around 700 crore market. we are sanitizing the sheet where you sit and do. Our market size may be 1,000 crore. I said the product is interesting, the margins are huge. Why not? And we have funded 80-90% companies in the idea stage. Home Capital was another company, down payment financing company. In the drawing board, we have funded them. When they come to us, yes, amount is small at that time. We give them. That's why we launched 9 unicorns. We recently launched idea stage financing accelerator fund called 9 Unicorn. It is very much similar to, I will say, not similar, but it has learned from Y Combinator Antlers of the world. And then we created our own model for Indian market. But yes, this is one of the accelerator fund which is going to fund only the idea stage companies. And Pravesh, you know it better than any other person. Like you were personally involved there, you know, in 9 Unicorns. Pravesh is already involved with 9 Unicorns as one of the partners. So the idea stage we see, because, you know, if you look into US economy and Chinese economy, where you have 10 lakh startups in US, China, and in US there are about 5 lakh startups. Without idea stage financing, you know, it's not possible to go take it to the next level. $500,000, $2 million investments possible, not possible. So there is a need in US and China. There are more than 100 companies in each country, which are like Y Combinator, which are like Techstars of the world, which are like China Accelerator, SOC in China. Every country has more than 100 companies. In India, we don't have even 4 or 5. We need accelerators in India. That's why we launched 9 Unicorns, which is a big gap. We need hundreds of companies like 9 Unicorns in India. But yes, our offering from 9 Unicorns in idea stage, we are completely concentrated there. So that's when we say idea stage, one idea is completely possible to invest. We have done at least 50 investments with the idea stage.
Okay.
Great. I do have one question.
Yeah, gentlemen.
For a lot of startup founders, it's important as to when they raise funding, when they give out equity stake, and also at what point of the life cycle of a startup do you recommend raising funds? Obviously, the need is also there, but beyond the need, overall, what do you suggest? Where, at what point of life cycle of a startup should they go around and raise funds?
I think there is a many, gentlemen, when you go to when these startups, when they raise, I always tell them raise first money when you conceive a good idea. When you conceive a good idea, raise at least $250,000. When you see a product market fit, raise $2 million. And that product market fit can come within month or 2 months of your idea stage financing. Then I tell them within 6 months of identifying the product market fit, you should raise $5 million round, which is Series A. So idea stage financing, accelerator funding, when you conceive a good idea and you think it's a super idea, up to $500,000 to $2 million seed stage financing when you find a product market fit. When you find tractions, revenues within 6 months of that, you should raise a larger VC round, $5 million round. If you are good and you are the best person to drive that business, your lives, every 6 months you should, or 9 months, 6 to 9 months, you should keep raising. You have to raise at least 7 to 8 rounds before making your company a unicorn. I think the company Instagram, within 3 years, they become a unicorn by raising a lot of money, multiple rounds. So it is not just linked to the revenue projections or revenue realization. It is also the potential of the idea, the power of the team, which matters to the venture capital companies. The belief of venture capital company that this is the best team to make it a sweep this market, men's grooming. They like the way we believe Beardo is going to sweep the men's grooming market. They are IGP.com, which is our company, which is now already the market leader in gifting space. India gifting portal, igp.com. They are doing 350 crore revenue now. Market leader, right? Within 3 years, we are not even 4-year-old company. I think this was within 3 years of our investment. And only 1 million, 2 million they have raised. Recently, they did another 2 million, I remember. They have raised maybe $4-5 million only by now. Build a solid business company, right? So, gentlemen, there are businesses where you need continued capital. Every 6 months, 9 months, you need a term sheet. There are businesses where you need, in 3 years, you may need only 3 term sheets. And you become a market leader. So sector depends on the sector, depends upon also the how fast you are scaling. What is the scalability potential of your startup? If your scalability potential is high, virality is high, you have to raise money very, very fast. And market condition does not matter, because today COVID is a totally different market condition where every market is impacted. But what happens sometimes when the market in India is bad, the market is China is good. Today even China market is good.
Right.
US market is good when the China is bad. You can raise it from other market. No need to wait for Indian markets only to raise the larger round.
So one more question: which are the top books or films that you would recommend to startup founders for inspirational purpose?
So
Apurva, you need to come up with one book now, it seems.
no, I have my book on Amazon, but $5,000 ka hai. Yes, there is a book of mine on if you Google the economic impact of incubators, which is published by some German publisher. But I always tell them, there is one book written on my recommendation to startup founders are there, which tell them how to, bring the unit economics to their business. We can always share you the titles. I always keep forgetting them. It's a very famous book. But I frankly, business है, books पढ़ने से होता नहीं है, ठीक है? आपको you interact with one semi-unicorn founder or unicorn founder. We have an initiative called Founders Network, where we only do one thing. Our startups get to interact with the founders of semi-unicorn or unicorn founders. आप उनके साथ 2 meeting कर लेगा. You will come to know everything because they are the one who built this company, ना $200 million company. वो पूरा आपको समझा देंगे कि क्या नहीं करना है और क्या करना है, ठीक है? If you are able to, there are 15,000 people like that. There are 4,000 semi-unicorn and around 434 unicorn. हर एक में 2-3 founder भी होगा तो ठीक है. So ये जो interaction है उनके साथ में वो ज़्यादा valuable है, ठीक है? Then yes, there are books which Pravesh ji, I'll tell you, forward you recommend. We recommend those things to our startups. एक वो आपका इसका क्या बोलते हैं स्टीव जॉब्स का इंटरव्यू है.
Photography is very inspirational.
That was when he was brought back into the Apple. He was sacked in Apple. I hope many of you know that.
Yeah.
And then he was brought back to the Apple. And then there was an interview by him, which was very inspirational. But वो बहुत heavy है. I don't know how many of you Netflix में है.
Yeah, excellent. The movies there.
Yeah, पूरा है उसमें. So these are some, but you will find a lot of inspirational, I think, things.
But I really like what you said. Meeting real people, meeting real successful people who are passionate. You get that same passion inside you.
China visit कर लीजिए, 4-5 unicorn founders से मिल लीजिए. You will come to decacorn founders से मिल लीजिए. You will completely change your mindset. हम लोग visit करके आए 2-3 बार. अभी प्रवेश जी के साथ भी जाना है.
Yeah, Malay, you have to speak something. You have some questions.
Apurva ji, thank you so much for your unbelievable sharing of knowledge. But talking about China, lately we have heard that China is planning to come up with a e-currency. Okay, so crypto they are planning to come up with. And,
yes.
So what is your take about startups in cryptocurrency, blockchain technology, 2 of the things, because Ripple has done wonderful, and that is from Japan. SBI has done it. And this side we have China coming in with
देखो crypto is growing in US and Japan and China, right? So main economies में तो हो गया है. So आप अभी as a startup you can create something which can enable these things as a blockchain, right? We are investing in a yesterday only I interacted with a startup, very good startup, which is basically enabling the blockchain for gaming, right? Because in Indian context, it's not permissible. I mean, it's not permitted, right? So there's no point doing something which is not permitted. We have to go by the law of the land. But if you can create some infra, you can create some enablement technology, I think that's okay. That is never a question, right? But yes, I mean, e-currency is coming now.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Ulrich, anything more to ask? You have?
No, so I think we are done with the questions. Thanks so much, Dr. Apurva, for like answering those with such enthusiasm.
I have one last question before we really, just sign off on everything. Can you just name two? You put the entire chart. We just ran through the entire chart, but two specific industries which you think are going to rule the markets in the coming times, and two industries which you think probably would have a real bad time.
So I think the two industries which are going to this is fintech and also the healthcare. These are two industries and backed by technologies. So these are going to definitely be very hot in next 1 year because these are enablers of many of the things. Whether it is supply chain, whether it is the healthcare products. So these two are definitely the pick of the moment.
Okay.
Right, gentlemen?
Right.
Any other question? Right.
Right. So.
Well, I think
thank you,
done
gentlemen.
with most of your, and thank you so much. And before we just close down, I'd like to thank a lot of people to be a part of this program. A lot of people from all across the country and a lot from US also have been joining this program. The entire Youth Exchange Forum and the youths who've been a part of this program. Thank you GCCI to partner this program. Amit Bhai, Asif Bhai, Mr. Patwari unfortunately is not here. Hemant Bhai, thank you so much for giving us this platform. So, can I ask Asif to just extend vote of thanks to this entire program?
Sure, absolutely. On behalf of G2 Ahmedabad, GCCI and JYIP, I would really like to thank Dr. Purva for a wonderful and insightful session. Many startup founders joined us and as well as aspiring entrepreneurs. I'm pretty sure they learned a lot more about the ecosystem today. Specifically, some of the learnings that I thought were that unicorns don't really need to, don't really need to have a boom economic cycle to flourish. There are many examples of unicorns who got founded during recession times. Also, COVID could in fact be a great opportunity and enabler for us and for startups. And the three key words that I think are passion, innovation, disruption, which is key for all startup founders. And with this, I thank all the attendees for attending this webinar. And we will wrap up the session now and have a good evening ahead, everyone.
Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you.
Thank you, Purva.
So before we go, just last one thing. G2 Ahmedabad is organizing a session with Monaben Kandar, Chief Minister of Economic and Commerce, Embassy of India, Tokyo, on 6th of May at 11 a.m. So hope to see you guys over there at that time. Bye. See you. Ciao.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.